What's up, everybody? Are you overwhelmed by the never-ending supply of depressing bad news? Well, let's refuel our tanks with 7 recent positive stories. This is Giddy News for the month of August 2022. The Las Vegas Raiders hire Sandra Douglas Morgan, the first black woman to serve as an NFL team president, is the Giddy News headline courtesy of ESPN, and a link to the source will be included in the description below. The Raiders hired Las Vegas attorney Sandra Douglas Morgan to be their new team president, and she becomes the first black woman to hold that title for an NFL franchise. Morgan, a Las Vegas native, spent 8 years with the city of North Las Vegas, and she was the first black city attorney in the state of Nevada. She also previously served as executive director of the Nevada Gaming Control Board. Morgan emphasized leadership and full transparency during her introductory news conference at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Morgan said, "I have accepted this role because I believe in the promise of the Raiders. I believe in the future of the Raiders, and I believe in this organization's tenets of community, integrity, and most of all, commitment to excellence." California will tackle high drug prices by making its own low-cost insulin, is the Giddy News headline courtesy of Dave Muyo with Fierce Healthcare, and a link to the source will be included in the description below. In 2019, Governor Gavin Newsom signed an executive order upon taking office that instructed California's Department of Healthcare Services to investigate how the state could cut down the price of high-cost prescription drugs. Now, California plans to manufacture insulin and make it available to all at a price close to its cost. Newsom said the recently signed state budget includes $100 million for California to contract and make its own insulin. Half of the allotted funds will be put toward the development of low-cost insulin products, while the remaining $50 million will support a California-based insulin manufacturing facility that the governor said will provide new, high-paying jobs and a stronger supply chain for the drug. A giant donut-shaped machine just proved a near-limitless clean power source is possible, is the Giddy News headline courtesy of Danya Gaynor and Angela Dewan with CNN, and a link to the source will be included in the description below. In the quest for a near-limitless zero-carbon source of reliable power, scientists have generated fusion energy before, but they have struggled for decades to sustain it for very long. Recently, however, scientists in the United Kingdom announced they more than doubled the previous record for generating and sustaining nuclear fusion, a process that unleashes a tremendous amount of energy as heat. In a giant donut-shaped machine known as a tokamak, scientists working in the English village of Colham near Oxford were able to generate a record-breaking 59 megajoules of sustained fusion energy over 5 seconds. The experiment used the elements deuterium and tritium, which are isotopes of hydrogen, to fuel the fusion. Those elements are likely to be used in commercial-scale fusion and can be found in seawater. Eurofusion, a consortium that includes 4,800 experts, students, and staff from across Europe, carried out the project in partnership with the UK Atomic Energy Authority. Paralyzed mice walk again after gel is injected into spinal cord, is the Giddy News headline courtesy of Carissa Wong with New Scientist, and a link to the source will be included in the description below. Samuel Stupp and his colleagues at Northwestern University in Chicago created a material made of protein units called monomers that self-assemble in water into long chains called supramolecular fibrils. When injected into the spinal cords of mice that were paralyzed in the hind legs, these fibrils formed a gel at the injury site. The gel mimics the matrix that is normally found around cells, providing a scaffold that helps cells to grow. It also provides signals that stimulate nerve regeneration. The gel's regenerative effect is due to short sequences of amino acids attached to the ends of the monomer proteins. The gel helps regenerate the severed ends of neurons and reduce the amount of scar tissue, which usually forms a barrier to regeneration. By doing so, this self-assembling gel enabled the mice to walk again after 4 weeks, whereas mice given a placebo did not regain the ability to walk. Couples wed as Swiss same-sex marriage law takes effect is the Giddy News headline, courtesy of Jamie Keaton with AP News, and a link to the source will be included in the description below. Unlike Western Europe, most countries in Central and Eastern Europe do not allow same-sex marriage. But lesbian and gay couples in Switzerland recently rejoiced as the nation began to formally allow same-sex marriages. These initial marriages came about 9 months after approximately 2/3 of voters backed the Marriage for All law in a national referendum. The law also allows same-sex partners to adopt children together and to sponsor a spouse for citizenship. "It's a great joy, a super moment to put in the history books," said Laurie, a 45-year-old human resources executive who finally was able to exchange vows with her partner, Aline, after a 2-decade relationship. Holding Laurie's hand, Aline said, "It's true that Switzerland has been a little slow. It's not a moment too soon, after all. Now is the time." A horse farm in New York City provides therapy to veterans and people with disabilities is the Giddy News headline, courtesy of Caitlin O'Kane with CBS News, and a link to the source will be included in the description below. Horseback riding might not seem like a typical New York City activity, but one program has several horse farms throughout the city's bustling boroughs. Gallop NYC provides horseback riding lessons as therapy to veterans and people with disabilities. James Wilson, executive director at Gallop NYC, says that time with a horse for those who suffered trauma or for those with physical disabilities can be very therapeutic, both emotionally and physically. Those in wheelchairs can also benefit from riding a horse, Wilson said, because the motions and movements of the horse will loosen up muscles and help to stimulate other body parts. Horse riding can also provide other social benefits. 16-year-old Olivia Diver visits the Gallop NYC location in the Howard Beach neighborhood in Queens. Diver says that riding horses at Gallop NYC has helped her come out of her shell and feel accomplished. She said trying something new showed her that she can accomplish other things as well. Using the power of the sun to roast green chili is the Giddy News headline, courtesy of the Sandia National Laboratories in New Mexico, and a link to the source will be included in the description below. Kenneth Armijo, an engineer at New Mexico's Sandia National Laboratories, envisioned a greener way to roast green chili peppers by doing so with concentrated sunlight to cut down on the emission of carbon dioxide. With the assistance of other Sandia engineers, technologists, and interns, Armijo raised a traditional steel drum tumbling chili roaster to the top of a 200-foot tower at Sandia's National Solar Thermal Test Facility. Armijo's father, a chili farmer and roaster who grows heirloom chili from seed passed down through multiple generations, donated several burlap sacks of green chili. Using 40 of the facility's 212 heliostats, which are mirror-like devices used to focus sunlight, Armijo achieved a temperature of 900 degrees Fahrenheit uniformly across the drum to successfully roast the chili. Alright, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Giddy News, and if you have a positive news story that you'd like for me to share, please include a link in the comments down below, and until next time, take care of yourself, and thanks for watching.